Today we're taking a look at this little tiny USB microphone from Razer. It's called the Seiren Mini, and I'm recording all the audio for this entire video with it. So essentially this whole video is just one giant mic test. Let's check it out. The Seiren Mini comes in the typical black and green Razer packaging. Inside we've got a message from Razer's co-founder along with a setup guide, a USB cable with a micro connection for the mic, a tiltable mic stand and connection post to join the mic to the stand, and finally the microphone capsule. This thing's very small and lightweight, about 240 grams according to my scale, and that's because it's almost entirely made of plastic with the exception of the grate on top and the threads on the stand. It feels like it's the same material and construction as the Razer Blackshark V2X gaming headset that I recently reviewed, and I don't really think that's a bad thing, because when you pick up this mic and hold it in your hand, it actually feels really strong despite the fact that it's just made of plastic. Like, I can apply a ton of force to the capsule and I can't get it to bend or flex or creak or make any weird sounds or anything like that. Even if you shake it, it just feels solid. So I don't think that's really an issue. And then you also kind of have to put in a perspective what this is supposed to be used for. Like, it's a desktop USB microphone, not a mouse or a keyboard that's going to be subject to all sorts of use and abuse. So as far as build quality goes, I actually think it's just fine for what it is. The mic uses a Supercardiod pickup pattern that's designed to focus on the audio source that's directly in front of it, which is most likely going to be you talking, and it's supposed to reduce other unwanted sounds around it like key presses and mouse clicks. And Razer also built a shock mount right into the capsule. It's actually on the inside, so you can't see it anywhere. And that's supposed to help reduce vibrations and sound reverberating back into the microphone if you were to accidentally bump it. Now, being a more budget-focused microphone, they obviously had to cut costs somewhere. And the most obvious thing to me is the fact that there's absolutely no manual controls whatsoever on this thing. There's no volume control, there's no mute button. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that we get on here is a little green LED on the front that's facing me right now, just to let you know that the power's on. That's it. Everything else that you're going to want to do, adjust the gain, the volume, if you want to mute it or disable it, it's all going to have to be done through your computer. Now, don't get me wrong, like, you can do all that stuff through your computer just fine, but it is nice to have those manual controls where if you got a bunch of stuff going on your system or on your screen, you can just reach over and adjust the gain or something like that. So that's definitely missing here. Now, the most important thing with any microphone is audio quality, obviously. And if you watch the video this far, you probably have a pretty good idea of what this thing sounds like and what it's capable of. And I mean, let's be honest, this sounds pretty good. I think the Seiren's doing a pretty good job at picking up the audio in this video right now. So one thing I do want to mention though is that this is a pretty ideal setup where I've got the microphone really close to the source, which in this case is me talking, and it's a direct line pickup where I'm talking directly into the capsule inside the microphone, and it's not off to the side or on an angle or something like that. So it's very close and it's a direct pickup. So like I said, ideal situation here. So next, let's do a couple of tests just by moving the microphone around to some different positions and see how it does. A really common place to set up a mic like this is just behind the keyboard, because that keeps it out of the way of gaming and typing or whatever. Now, this is still a direct pickup because I'm talking directly into it. It's not off to the side or anything like that. But one of the main differences here, well, there's two things. One, the distance increase between the audio source and the microphone by placing it further away, which means to maintain the same level of volume, you'll have to dial up the gain a little bit more, which reduces the signal quality and might introduce a little bit of noise and stuff like that. And the other thing is now it's positioned behind my keyboard. So in this case, the capsule's facing the keyboard and myself, which is supposed to be the audio source. So unfortunately, we're probably going to pick up a lot more keyboard sounds here with this setup. Now, let's say you don't want the microphone sitting directly in front of your monitor. Maybe you find that distracting, or maybe you have a low sitting monitor where the microphone would actually obstruct your view a little bit. In that case, you're going to have to move it over to one of the sides like I did here. And this is another really common way to use one of these desktop USB microphones, is to kind of set it up off to the side of whatever you're doing. So in this case, the major difference is we no longer have that direct line pickup because it's off to the side. The capsule is no longer directly facing the audio source. It's coming in and picking up on an angle. So that should decrease the audio performance even further than the other situation where we just move the microphone from the closest position to just behind the keyboard. So in this case, I'm speaking directly forward, still directly to you in the camera, where, in your case, you're probably gaming or streaming and looking forward at your monitor. So this is probably what you can expect if you're going to use a setup like this. And this is what it sounds like when you start pressing some keys. One thing that I recommend if you pick up this microphone, or pretty much any other microphone for your PC for that matter, is to go into your sound settings and actually change the bit depth and the sample rate to the highest setting that it will allow you to. So for this video, I set mine to 16-bit and 48 kilohertz, and that's just going to make sure that you're getting the best possible audio signal recorded to your computer. Overall, the Seiren Mini is a really simple product. I mean, it's a small microphone and stand with no special software to get it up and running and no external controls or pretty much anything else, really. It's a very basic and simple product, and it's just easy to use. The big question is it actually worth its $50 asking price? And for me personally, I actually think that it is, and there's a couple reasons for that. The first is, I mean, the audio quality's there if you know how to use it properly. And the second thing kind of ties into that, and it's the small size. The small size in this case is an advantage because it allows you to set it up in places where you wouldn't normally if you had this gigantic microphone, because you might not want it in your shot, or, you know, it's too distracting or something like that. This thing's so small and compact that I can set it up in front of my keyboard, right in front of my monitor, and it doesn't obstruct my view, nothing. So that's a huge advantage because it allows me to keep it close to the audio source, which is me talking, and that's what it's all about, because then I don't need to dial in as much gain, which gets a cleaner signal and a better sounding audio recording overall. So I think this is a pretty good product for the price. Keep in mind, this is a pretty new product at the time of this recording, so, you know, you can expect it to be selling around its MSRP of $50 for the next little while. That's just how things are. But if you think that's a little steep, I mean, I don't blame you. I totally understand it. You know, the audio quality is there, but at the same time, there's literally no other features that are going for this thing. So if you don't want to spend the $50, but you think it would be a good option, just look out for deals. I mean, Black Friday's coming soon and the holiday shopping season, and, you know, there's always sales as time goes on and products have been on the market for a little while. So if you can get this thing under $50, maybe around $40, I think it would be an absolute steal. So I'm going to put the purchasing links down in the description. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share, and come back soon for more. See ya.